I've seen a lot of startups with great products collapse because they don't find the right investor, the right fit with other partners. Ideas thrive, but something is not really getting to the right direction. If you ever build something from scratch, you know this is true. Failure is a foundation of success.
So when you move on past failure, you realize that the learnings from it becomes an evolution, a reiteration, and no longer the static concept of failure.
I think life is about failing and getting back up, So I have a phrase that I love to say, no risk, no stories.
No matter what team I would like to work with, as founders, we're building for people. We're human centric. At the same time, I'm a big energy person. I'm a big I don't really care who you are, what your background is.
Why startups fail? Because corporations have this long life, right? And very rigid structures.
When you're trying to build for everyone, you end up building for no one.
Rachel, please take the floor and just show us your venture.
So what I'm building is TAO, T-A-O, which comes from the Chinese philosophy of Taoism. And TAO basically is this platform with products that combine Chinese medicine and natural remedies with Western data and sports science.
Every great pitch starts with a line that makes you feel something, not just think, okay? An idea that awakens curiosity or emotion that reflects purpose.
I think one of the key elements we need to take in account on the main topic of why startups fail is that they need to keep the connection, right? Keep the connection with their customers, keep the connection with their partners, develop a real community around it. Visit the Friends of Bata LinkedIn page and vote for your favorite Gen Z founder to help decide who will take home the Pitch Lab winner title.
Hello and welcome to Pitch Lab, a podcast with a pitch, powered by Friends of Bata, where entrepreneurs from all around the world with different backgrounds, styles, and businesses share their failures and their passion for entrepreneurship and impact. I am your host, Enrique, a Mexican-Swiss entrepreneur who spent over 20 years building, breaking, and backing startups around the world. Pitch Lab is your safe space for honest and unfiltered conversations about what it really takes to build something from scratch and to share epic failures and glorious mess. Here, Gen Z founders with fresh ideas connect with millennial entrepreneurs who have been through the trenches, and they don't hold back. Today's episode is called Why Startups Fail, with Adrian and Rachel. So let's dive in.
Today, we're running the episode titled Why Startups Fail. I would like to say that for me, failure, more than a bad thing, is a walk to succeed. It has been part of my life since a young age. I don't know, I cannot count the many times I fail an exam or I fail on a business or a project, and these become part of my life. I'm going to ask you to please introduce yourselves. Rachel, tell us a little bit more about you and TAO.
Hi, Enrique. Thanks so much. I'm so happy to be here. I got really into Ironman training over the past 2 years, and that's what led me to build TAO, which I'll get into a little bit later. But TAO is basically my love for Chinese medicine, Eastern practice, and combined with Western sport technology. So my free time is completely spent training and working on my startup, which I love. I've gone full time into it this month. So we'll hope that I can pay rent soon.
That's one of the key parts, right? To maintain things stable.
Yeah, exactly.
Adrian, can you explain us a little bit of your background? How do you end up being an entrepreneur after somehow a life in corporate?
Thank you very much. Hi, everybody. Thank you for the opportunity. I'm super happy to be here. I'm an entrepreneur, investor, and eternal pupil. So after 9 years in marketing and sales corporations as Nestlé, Danone, or Johnson, I made the leap into entrepreneurship at 2015 to pursue projects with a human impact. And I'm passionate about connecting people and helping entrepreneurs, defining clear strategies, fundraising, and scale the businesses without losing the purpose.
If you ever build something from scratch, you know this is true. Failure is a foundation of success.
The first thing that what you're mentioning really reminds me of is this book by Sarah Lewis, and she talks about failure as different perspectives, right? So when you move on past failure, you realize that the learnings from it becomes an evolution, a reiteration, and no longer the static concept of failure. And I really love that because, I mean, this is cliche, right? But only when you give up is it truly failure. But then if you continue, if you learn from it, it's no longer just this one static version. So that's something that I really love. I think for me, it really took shape throughout my journey because I am someone who tends to believe a lot in my own assumptions. And so for me, it's been this process of like constantly having to reiterate and create different things. I think of it almost as a game at this point, really, and seeing like, okay, what's the different challenge that we could kind of try to overcome or figure out something new with, and emotionally process at the same time as well.
I think life is about failing and getting back up, you know. So I have a phrase that I love to say, no risk, no stories. Okay, so I encourage everyone to take risk and fail, because it's when you learn at life.
I've seen a lot of startups with great products collapse because they don't find the right investor, the right fit with other partners. Normally, ideas thrive, but something is not really getting to the right direction. Maybe it's the team, maybe it's the timing. In these cycles, where do you think that you add the most value?
Yeah, I think that one of the best first mistakes when you run a startup or a project is the choosing the co-founding team. You know, so the founding team is the single biggest predictor of success in early stage startups. So it's super important to share this adventure with a life partner. People who want to share the same values, complementary skills, and the same level of risk tolerance.
How it's been for you, Rachel, with your background, multicultural, living in different countries, to adapt to different perspectives, different ways of thinking? How do you feel that you can always give something valuable?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think for me, like the world is becoming increasingly international and globalized, right? So I think first of all, no matter what team I would like to work with, as founders, we have we're building for people. We're human centric, and I think that having this global perspective already is kind of like a foundation, right, of who we are and how we can be the change makers of tomorrow. At the same time, I'm a big energy person. Like I'm a big I don't really care like who you are, what your background is. I guess it's not a very clear answer. My answer is, this is a really Gen Z answer, but my answer is vibes, honestly.
Go for it. Like we all need
Good vibes.
to feel our vibes. I love that. In that sense, and you as a real athlete, you told me last time when we were speaking about these physical challenges that you were facing, right? Like in order to really perform as you wanted. I
Yeah.
do suffer the same. Years back, I have an injury on my knee, right? Like I tried to do a marathon, I finished it, but I was like really feeling bad physically because I put too much. When do you think that we need to put that limit on? I put too much in the business and you need to rest a little bit or think again, like, because this, I mean, exponentially thinking is not just about like running a race, it's about working too much. Where do you see that limit?
That's such a wonderful question, Enrique. And I think bringing up sports in this concept is so relevant as well, especially as runners, right? Like we really push our bodies. And what endurance sports have also taught me is to really be in tune and listen to my body. And it's the same process with your mind, right? But especially as high performing people, anyone listening to this podcast is going to be a high performing individual. And I'm guessing is going to struggle to know when to stop working. I'm sure Adrián and Enrique, you
Or
guys have
not, but
multiple late nights. Just you want to get that email out, you want to get this product through because you love it. I'm going to reference another really, really great book by Haruki Murakami about running, because he's an author and marathoner. And he says about running that you always run until you know you can run again the next day. So instead of thinking, I'm
got
going to
it.
work today until I completely burn out and I'm exhausted and I'm crashed on my couch, because sometimes that's like the instinct, right? And that's kind of like, I mean, I come from China. You're told to work really hard. So that I feel like that's sometimes the norm, but I really like this sentiment of work up until you know you're excited and able to work tomorrow.
I take it like this: always do your sport as you are doing your business, right? Like you finish the race, but you need to keep racing. In these structures, Adrian, where do you see the failure between corporates and entrepreneurship?
I think that in corporates, well, a lot of egos, a lot of people trying to put medals or trophies, and well, that no matters. In the startup ecosystem, we prefer to collaborate, to help others. Yeah, we are all time thinking in, I think, in positive for how to arrive to the next step, helping. So it's another philosophy, another mindset that I love. I think that's the difference. Hierarchies, egos could be a resume.
I really like that very personal perspective on the corporations. Let me take it back to why startups fail. Because corporations have these long life, right? And very rigid structures. Where does startups are failing in building those structures?
Yeah, the main things or make mistakes is keeping market validation, you know. So many founders fall in love with the installation and build too much before checking if, if there is real demand. So without validation, you risk building something nobody wants. So here, my takeaway is test the problem before the product. Okay, run service, pre-sell, or will build a simple landing page to see if people would pay.
Yeah, and I know you have a few examples of this, Rachel. Why don't you tell us what happened in your past life of entrepreneurship regarding that fact of building too much and missing a little bit the star.
Yeah, absolutely. So with my women entrepreneurship community, SheUp, we had like this North Star of entrepreneurship for women and closing this gap, right? So that was super clear. And you can imagine like entrepreneurship for women, that can be like this massive umbrella of everything. So that's what we wanted to do. A friend of mine told me a little while ago, and I really like this quote now, that when you're trying to build for everyone, you end up building for no one. So I really, really keep that to heart now, because I'm someone who really wants to make something for everyone. And at the same time, what you mentioned, Adrián, about validation, like that's also something that I run into hurdles of with my current startup, TAO, because I know I want to build for athletes like us who aren't full-time athletes. We can't afford to go to physio all the time. We don't have a huge training team, but we are committed to our bodies, and we want to also not constantly put like synthetic painkillers and chemicals into our bodies all the time. So I'm super committed to this target audience of, I call them professional amateur athletes. And because I have a little bit of like a delusional confidence over my own problems, like I started off really like assuming that my problems were everyone's problems. And that's not totally incorrect, because I did also do the validation to know that knee problems are huge, and everyone and their mothers have knee problems. And it's something that we need to target. Where I went wrong was needing to validate my product specifically a lot more. And what you said, Adrián, as well, about like really do that proof of concept that this is a solid problem that specifically your product can target. and can solve, that's where I really could have put a lot more effort. And, there's no such thing as too late. So this is my micro failure learning that I'm embarking on over the next few weeks.
And I'm gonna relate these to that specific point of why startups fail. A lot of times it's also because the passion and the mindset of the entrepreneur is not in the correct place sometimes, and they have no tools to work on it. What you have seen in your experience, Rachel, on these mental health and failure as a way or a mechanism that is a result of this mental thing.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think a lot about failure as a concept growing up with a Chinese mom, right? So we are basically told you can never fail. And I grew up being very good at my sport, horse riding, which meant that I am not used to failing, actually. I was just constantly very good and winning everything. And then I had a riding accident that took me out of competing for actually up until now. And then I got into startups, so then I didn't go back to the professional riding path. But then when you're 17 years old and you quit your sport when you're at the peak of your sport, that kind of means that you never really get to experience failure. So that's where I really was for a little while. And I was just afraid of trying anything new and afraid of being bad at anything. And it's kind of like that. My founder confidence was super low. For me, it's about really getting to embrace this concept of a near failure, which is also what Sarah Lewis really shares in her books, that a near failure is not a full failure. A near failure is something that we really should take as a great thing. Like my prototypes for my little products, right, came and they're not perfect. They're actually, I have to change a lot of things in my next few weeks because they're not perfect. Maybe you had this within your training season, Enrique, but anyone who does sports knows that you experience so many of these micro failures every single week when you're training. Like you're not going to always hit the times you want to hit. But if we constantly considered that as a failure, then we would all perpetually be failures and there would be no way to dig ourselves out of that hole. So for me, it was really relating sports as a metaphor for my entrepreneurial experience and embracing, again, the concept of near failure and that success is a very dynamic experience.
If you could redesign the startup journey, removing one myth that hurts young founders the most, what would that be?
I think it's scaling too quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Growth before a product market fit can be fatal. Yeah. So expanding teams, spending heavy on marketing or entering in new markets without a proven core model, it drains resources. So choose one market or one customer segment first. Once you are profitable or at least repeatable in one place, then scale, because we are sometimes obsessed with scaling, winning markets. So, well, it's been unnecessary.
Yeah. So for you, what you redesign is that the scaling moment, right? Like so.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Got
Absolutely.
it. Got it. Rachel, what would be for you just a factor that you think it should be easier to redesign?
I think for me, it would be the product design process, because I think for me, I was really falling in love with my product when I realized that I need to fall in love with my core audience a lot more. And I think this is what Adrián also means with niching down that audience, because if we can really, for example, in padel, right, if you can really focus on one type of padel player, maybe it's a professional, maybe it's the amateur, maybe it's like the person who's just starting padel, and fall in love with this audience group and constantly reiterate for them, I think it makes the entire journey also just a lot more uplifting than if you were just trying to constantly make a perfect product that, surprise, surprise, no one actually wants.
So now we're gonna move to the other amazing part of this podcast, which is the pitch. Rachel, please take the floor and just show us your venture.
Thank you so much for the floor. So hi, my name is Rachel, and I spent the past 2 years really obsessed with getting into running and endurance sports like long distance triathlons. Me alongside hundreds and millions of new marathon runners and Ironman athletes that have come out over the past 2 years. And within this new community, I've found that everyone shares the same sentiment for really bad knee pains. And for me personally, my knee pain actually took me out of not one, but two different Ironmans. And it was all things like stress tears, little things like, I mean, no one's tearing their ACLs, but that little type of knee pain that all runners, all triathletes, and also padel players, football players, so many different people, basketball players experience knee pain, whether it's runner's knee or jumper's knee, tendonitis, all these different things. So I really wanted to come up with a solution because also everyone in Europe at the time was telling me to take ibuprofen and paracetamol, and that was going to be my solution. But coming from a Chinese background, I'm completely not used to taking painkillers. And we're really taught that pain is our body communicating with us. So that's not a good option for us. So I want to create something better, especially for the amateur athletes like myself who are a full-time student or working full-time. So I don't have the time or the money to go to physiotherapy all the time. So what I'm building is Tao, T-A-O, which comes from the Chinese philosophy of Taoism, which is all about the flow in your body. If you've seen the yin yang, that comes from Taoism, and it's about the qi, the circulation within your body. And Tao basically is this platform with products that combine Chinese medicine and natural remedies with Western data and sports science. So the first product that I'm coming out with is a pain flow balm. And basically it's a natural painkiller. It's like a Tiger Balm, if you've heard of Tiger Balm. So you can roll it on to your knees, to your back, to your neck, wherever you're feeling pain. And instead of numbing the pain itself, it creates a counter-irritant effect on the skin. It's a cooling feeling made with all natural ingredients that gives you instant relief. So you're also able to perform at your highest without interrupting your body's natural state. So the ambition is to really grow and scale this brand and bring Chinese medicine also deeply into the Western sports market, where I think there's a huge gap in the market, and also work very deeply with circulation science, as in our own blood flow that carries a lot of oxygens and nutrients and is naturally detoxifying. And there's really data science to back this up now as well. So my first product is called Ice by Tao, and it's this little roll-on balm. I have it in my hand. I think it's very pretty, and it's blue, and you roll it on. I had these prototypes that are not perfect. As you can see, if you're seeing the video, there's a chip on the back. There's some work to be done, but the intention is to really build this product and build out more similar products, go into sport tech more deeply as well. And this is what I love for this audience of professional amateur athletes.
Thank you very much, Rachel. I thought the pitch was great. Congratulations on the project and your incredible energy. I want to give you some feedback that will be useful for your project and for any entrepreneur or student who wants to present an idea. First one that I recommend is an introduction with a hook, like movement is natural, recovery should be too. So here the key point is every great pitch starts with a line that makes you feel something, not just think, okay? An idea that awakens curiosity or emotion that reflects purpose. Second one, about the problem. We live disconnected from our own bodies, okay? Talking about FlowbyTAO. Then it's super important talk about the size of this market, okay? Worldwide, because you are focus your product worldwide. So it's important, okay? Then business model. Simple, sustainable, direct. Here, the key point is explain how you make money in a way that stays true to your philosophy, okay? It's not just about profitability. It's about coherence between values and business. But we need numbers. We need to know, we are talking about money or only about, product and community. So it's important, this mix. Then traction. we need to talk about traction, the proof that your project now is running in the correct way. So show evidence, but speak from emotion, testimonials, community, and first sales. Super important, first sales. Okay, these early adopters. Okay, then competitive advantage, super important. Don't talk about we don't compete. It's better to talk about we are another solution. Trying to be different. Okay, then the team, super important, super important. People who leave this project is super necessary to talk about the profiles that makes this project real. Okay, show your team as a living extension of your purpose. Okay, financials, use of funds. Okay, so talk about how you plan to grow without losing a lot of money, without losing essence too. But wow, how to scale, how much money we need, and it's important. Okay. At closing, I recommend a call to action. Okay, and with a powerful vision, inviting, don't sell, inspire. Example. This isn't about product. It's about people who want to live in harmony with their bodies. If you share that vision, we would love to build it with you.
Thank you so much, guys, for all the feedback. It's so insightful getting to listen to you guys with all of your experience and kind of your perspective when it comes to building a new company. Like you guys said, I'm a very baby company. So it's really refreshing to hear your thoughts and ideas. As I kind of venture into the unknown and get to build something that I really love.
So I have a clear question here is, how do you plan to educate consumers about what FlowbyTAO is better than alternatives?
That's a great question. And for me, it's really about bringing that element of Chinese medicine in. We talked about timing, and something that's happening within culture right now, especially in the sports universe, is looking into alternative medicines and looking into different healing practices that would work, that are also non-invasive and were really good for the body. So the same way, one of my really big references for this is Korean skincare. Koreans really dominated the skincare market in the consumer industry, right? And I really believe that Chinese medicine can occupy this space as well. So a lot of that is going to be very natural and organic.
And there is any regulatory framework that applies to your product, like a cosmetic, medical device or something? And how do you ensure your claims are compliant?
For sure, it's a really good question. So from the cosmetic side, actually not at all, because all the ingredients I'm using are natural. It's menthol, it's camphor, it's eucalyptus oil, it's clove oil, and none of these are new novel ingredients. So because of that, and because they've been used in other application on skin type products, and that's not new, there's actually nothing on the regulation side, and this becomes a very easy consumer product for me to create. From the biz dev perspective. After all my conversations with so many physiotherapists and people doing rehab and recovery for their bodies, everyone says the best recovery is what makes you feel good. So my goal is to make people feel good. And exactly as you say, Adrián, I have to be very careful about the claims I make, because I cannot say that Ice by Tao, my little friend here, will improve your blood flow and improve your circulation. I'm not allowed to say that, but I am allowed to say that it supports your blood flow, it supports your circulation. And that is something that's been proven over thousands of years of Chinese history and East Asia practices. Like this, I'm not building a product for East Asians, because this is something that we can get at our 7-Elevens. I'm building something really for the Western consumer market.
Well, another question, how to being differentiate about, for example, CBD is pushing so hard. And I want to know your feeling about this market and how to compete with this, or if you are in the same market or in the same sector.
Yeah, for sure. That's another great question. And I'm going to be honest with you. It's something that I think very deeply about. And I don't have an exact answer for you yet, but I can tell you how I'm planning to get to that answer. For me, what I want to start off with, I know, is to really niche down on this specific target audience. And I'm talking about these professional amateur runners and triathletes who are doing big distances like marathons or like full Ironmans and are putting in 10 to 20 hours per week training, and also have a full-time job on the side and everything. So this is already a very, very specific target group. This is the people that I love, that I want to work really deeply with to begin with. And then it's a matter of just constantly validating and revalidating again and seeing what works, seeing what doesn't work, and seeing what information is clicking, what is not clicking. I'm also fully prepared in the beginning for this audience not to work out and then to have to pivot to another target audience that's slightly different, because maybe the audience that's going to love this is people who are beginners and are just starting their running journeys and just starting their triathlon journeys, of which there are also millions and millions each year now, hopping on that trend, since we're talking about timing. I don't have an exact answer, unfortunately, but how I'm going to get there is basically what we've been talking about in terms of staying really close to that end user. And then
it's okay. It's perfect. Yeah, it's okay, perfect. And there are any numbers or milestones you can emphasize to show the momentum?
Yeah, for sure. So I've got about 600 signups on a mailing list now for the first product. The reason why I take that with a grain of salt is because I think over half of them are like my friends and people I know around the world. But the success there is that there's at least like 250 people that I don't know. I don't know who they are. I don't recognize their name and email. And I think that is the big success factor for me. I've also got just like my prototypes just came in. So I'm super excited about having this physical product in my hand, something I really love. And I have a really lovely little world tour of events coming up. So I'm going to be doing that in Amsterdam. I'm going to Cape Town in February. We're going to be in Japan, in Bali, in Shanghai, New York, Hong Kong, San Francisco, running little events, getting to know my target audience, and continue building and having fun, having a lot of fun. Like, we're not people who get paid to be athletes. So a part of my brand as well is just, we want to have fun while doing this.
For me, the one thing that's sticking in my mind when I heard the pitch from Rachel was this holistic approach and the chi, and like these words that for me are essential to connect, right? Like, what is the one thing that for you stayed in your mind out of the pitch?
It's important to connect with the brand, So for me, Tiger don't have soul. If I meet Rachel and I know the story, I connect with Rachel and with Tao. For the reason I prefer to spend my money in Tao than others. Is the reason that people prefer to buy my rackets instead of Heat, who is super known worldwide, but people that know me knows that when they want can call me. I'm local. I think global but local. I'm trying to be near to the people. Could be super nice to organize, running challenges, with the brand of Tao, trying to be different, because you cannot compete with money with big brands, but without creativity or being near to these early adopters, you're gonna have success. Absolutely.
I love this part of the connectivity. I think one of the key elements we need to take in account on the main topic of why startups fail is that they need to keep the connection, right? Like, keep the connection with their customers, keep the connection with their partners, develop a real community around it.
If you're a software, there is no soul. So a software, there are many software, but if you want to create a direct-to-consumer brand, you need this. You need a love brand. You need a awareness, creativity, events, being different.
Yeah, being different, be unique. I like it. I will keep these words. Rachel, Adrian, it's a great pleasure to have you on the show today.
Yeah, thank you very much for the invitation. Thanks, Rachel, for your energy. Enrique too. I've been super comfortable here. I'm available to help others. I'm all time listening founders, people in general, trying to help with my humble vision with these years of fighting with different projects. And yeah, that's it. And with commitment and honesty and hunger, we're gonna get nice things.
So that's a wrap on the episode of Pitch Lab, where bold ideas meet the real work of turning them into impact. Now it's your turn. Head to the Friends of Bata LinkedIn page or use the link in the show notes and vote for your favorite Gen Z founder. Your vote counts for 50% of the final score. The other half comes from our mentors and jury. The winners received hands-on support from our expert coaches and founders, including myself and a Forbes 30 under 30 founder, plus access to Let's Group, Ventures Group Factory to sharpen their model, scale smarter, and cut costs. And yes, there is a cash prize too, because every milestone should be celebrated. So cast your vote, share the love, and thank you for supporting founders who turn challenges into growth. I am Enrique, and this is Pitch Lab. See you next time.